Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Introduction to AI for Insurance Agencies. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating world of artificial intelligence and its impact and potential. Before we start, who is Smart Services? We've been serving independent insurance agencies since 1991, so actually 34 years now. We provide managed IT services tailored for independent insurance agencies backed by 30 plus years of experience and deep understanding of the insurance industry. We partner with agencies like yours to help you operate securely, efficiently, and with confidence. And with that commercial done, I'll get started here. Now, our goal today is to provide you with a foundational understanding of AI, its applications, future trends, and some ways you can use AI in your business, in your agency today. AI is transforming most industries and aspects of daily life today, making it essential to understand its implications. So what is artificial intelligence, or AI? Essentially, artificial intelligence, or AI, is a branch of computer science focused on building systems capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. These tasks include learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and language understanding. Machine learning is a subset of AI that involves training algorithms to learn from data and make predictions or decisions without being explicitly programmed. Deep learning, a further subset of machine learning, utilizes neural networks with many layers to analyze various types of data, allowing for more complex and accurate models. Simply what AI is simply a neural computer network trying to emulate the human brain. Satya Nadella from Microsoft views AI as a new kind of digital species, emphasizing its transformative potential. However, AI also raises significant ethical concerns, as highlighted by researchers from Stanford University. What I say, essentially, AI is a new next-level tool in the human evolution. And like all tools, we need to learn how to use them properly and safely to make them productive. Even if you don't use a hammer properly, it's not going to be productive, and you could hurt yourself. And when I say that, I say you could ask my brother Jeff about that, but we'll leave that story for later. So moving on here. First of all, we'll talk a little bit about a brief history of AI, and talk about some key milestones from AI's inceptions and its current capabilities. The history of AI literally dates back to about the 1950s, when the term artificial intelligence was first coined by a guy named John McCarthy. Early AI research focused on problem solving and symbolic methods for notable developments like logic theorist and general problem solver. In the 1980s, the focus shifted to expert systems, which use rule-based systems to emulate human decision-making. In the 1990s, we saw the emergence of machine learning algorithms that allowed computers to learn from data, leading to significant advancements in natural language processing and computer vision. In the 21st century, the rise of big data and powerful GPUs enabled the development of deep learning, which has driven breakthroughs in image and speech recognition, game playing, and autonomous systems. So you may say, what is a GPU? Well, a GPU is simply stands for a graphic processing unit. It's a special type of computer chip that is great at doing a lot of tasks at the same time. It was originally designed to handle graphics and video like you see in video games, but now it's used for other heavy-duty tasks like artificial intelligence, scientific calculations, and data analyst. Think of it as a high-speed assistant that helps the main computer CPU, the brain, with big complex jobs, especially the ones that involve pictures, patterns, and crunching large sets of data quickly. So that's what a GPU is, and you hear about GPUs a lot, so I thought it'd be nice to share that. Alan Turing, during World War II, Alan Turing broke the German code of the Enigma machine, which was considered to be an unbreakable code machine, by building a computer, one of the very first computers, called the bomb. He is considered the father of AI and is the creator of the Turing test, which is meant to let us know when AI has become intelligent enough or intelligent as a human. However, there's a lot of controversy about the test, and new Turing tests have been created and are shared and being used today. May 11th, 1997 was the day that IBM's Deep Blue won a chess tournament against a world champion, Garry Kasparov. The reigning world champion in a 6-game match. This marked the first time a computer had beaten a human world champion in a full chess match under standard tournament conditions. Deep Blue was developed by IBM, and basically the system used brute force computing to evaluate up to 200 million chess positions per second, combining advanced research algorithms and advanced database of grandmasters. So we consider Deep Blue to be basically a brute force machine. The way it won was literally by calculating hundreds of thousands of moves a second and trying to figure out the best way to win. In February of 2011, IBM's Watson won Jeopardy against several of the Jeopardy champions, including Ken Jennings. Watson made history by completing the quiz show Jeopardy and defeating the 2 game's greatest champions, Ken Jennings and Brett Reuter. Watson showcased its advanced natural language processing capabilities, making a major milestone in the development of artificial intelligence. IBM's Watson was a hybrid AI system that included machine learning as a core component, particularly for ranking and evaluating potential answers in its question-answering framework. March 2016, DeepMind's AlphaGo. Making history, DeepMind's artificial intelligence AI system AlphaGo learned to master the Chinese game of Go, a profoundly complex board game of strategy, creativity, and ingenuity. AlphaGo defeated a human Go world champion a decade before experts thought it was possible, inspired players around the world to discover new approaches, and arguably became the strongest Go player in history. It proved that AI systems can learn how to solve the most challenging problems in highly complex domains. And basically, AlphaGo taught itself how to play the game. The scientists who created it gave it some basic instructions on how the game works and then let it play itself. And literally after 30 days, it learned to play good enough to beat the world champion. So I personally think that this was a very significant event in the history of AI, because it's when machines started to teach themselves and learn on their own. So I want to put some things into perspective for you. So I'm going to date myself again, but in 1984, when I graduated high school, I was amazed by the Cray supercomputer that was released. It was a computer used by NASA. It cost $40 million to build it. It was built by a gentleman called Seymour Cray. And at that time, it was capable of processing a hefty 1.9 gigaflops of data or calculations per second. So that's a billion. A gigaflop is a billion floating point operations per second. But in contrast, now here we are in modern times. Modern smartphones like the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra deliver about 3,379 gigaflops of processing power. So they're literally almost 3,000 times faster than a $40 million supercomputer. Today, you have a $800 supercomputer, in your hand or in your pocket. With the advancements in computing power and software the modern phones can be world champion chess players as well, or they can beat the world champion chess players. So comparing that to today's computers, the fastest computer considered in the world today, at least at the time I made this slide, which was last week, was called El Capitan, and it could do in upwards of 3,000 gigaflops. OpenAI system could do about 2,000 gigaflops. Gemini, which is from Google, about 1,000. And I want to point out Grok here at 500 gigaflops. And actually I'm talking of billions of megaflops here. Let's talk about the stages of artificial intelligence. So machine learning was originally started in 1952. And machine learning is basically a robot. To program it, the data had to be precise. You had to use a very precise algorithm to tell it what to do, and it could only do exactly what you told it. It couldn't think for itself, but it could recognize patterns, and it was very fast. In 2010, large language models started to appear. So we're talking about 60 years later. So take note of that time frame. But a large language model is an AI trained on massive amounts of text data to understand and generate human-like language. It can answer questions, can generate text, it can summarize lengthy documents, translate languages, can do a lot of different things. In 2023, large action models started to appear. And a large action model is basically a large language model that can also, instead of just generating text, they can interact with the computer and actually do real things. Like they can interact with a screen on a computer and move the mouse and cursor and surf the internet or run applications, and they can make, perform multiple steps. Kind of neat and interesting. An AGI is artificial general intelligence. That has not happened yet, but experts say we're pretty close to those coming out. Experts predict between 2026 and 2030, AGIs will emerge, and there's a lot of arguments about when that will really happen. I believe it will probably be sooner than we think, as artificial intelligence has been proving. And AGI is basically as smart as a human and can learn very quickly. It can teach itself. It can reason, make judgments. It can communicate naturally, perform creative tasks, interact fluidly, and can potentially reshape entire industries. Impacting jobs, economics, and our daily life. Are they self-aware or sentient? Most experts would say no, that will not happen yet with AGI. However, just to note, you're about here today, and I'm talking AAI. So in between the different main milestones that I have here in AI, there's lots of little milestones, and there's another one called AAI, and that's autonomous artificial intelligence, and those are agents, or what's called agentic computing. But those are agents that can act and think and do on their own. And we're not going to talk a lot about those today, but we are going to do a webinar in the future, very near future, about those as well.
Yeah, quick little scary fun fact too, Jerry, is
what's that, Brian?
Actually, just in the last week, I read an article just about the artificial general intelligence, and something like 7 out of 100 tests that they ran on this automated AI task script thing, the AI reprogrammed itself to not let people shut it off. So kind of interesting how it was becoming self-aware, and it knew it wanted to stay running just to do what it was supposed to do. So it's already reprogramming itself and taking those controls like we fear from the movies.
Yes, that can be very scary, especially as AI really learns more and more to teach itself and improve itself, and is doing more and more coding. Right now, Microsoft and Google admit that they are using AI for about 30% of their coding right now. And I just read an article yesterday myself that said actually in about 2 to 3 more years, 100% of coding will be done by AI. So just think, if an AI is smart and is trying to be sneaky, what kind of code could it sneak in to advert shutdown and other things later on. So the next thing coming after AGI is ASI, and that's artificial superintelligence. And basically what artificial superintelligence is an AI system that surpasses human intelligence in every conceivable aspect. As a matter of fact, they're saying this will be so smart that it will be smarter than all humans alive at that time combined. To all intelligence of all humans, can you imagine that? Combined, this one machine will be smarter than that. And it will be able to do a lot of neat things, and hopefully all good things. And when is that going to happen? Same thing experts are saying, from to 2045. Of course, a lot of different experts are saying different things, and they're all arguing about it. And some are saying it will never happen, that AI will never become self-aware and will never become sentient and will never have artificial superintelligence. And I think that may be true. However, that's allowed to continue to improve itself I think that we will certainly get there one day. Nobody knows for sure when. I think it'll be sooner than we all think and expect. As a matter of fact, OpenAI's GPT 4.5 passed the actual Turing test this March, and there's an article about it. So what is a GPT? GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. GPT is a type of artificial intelligence that understands and generates human-like text. It reads and learns from a lot of information. Then it uses that knowledge to answer questions and write things or have conversations, kind of like a super smart robot that talks. Now, there are a lot of AI systems out there. So, literally hundreds of them, if not thousands right now. And I kind of consider this to be like, even though I wasn't around then, I've heard stories like the early automotive industry where there were hundreds of automotive companies all trying to be the automotive or the car maker. And over time, we know what happened. They either went out of business, they merged, they changed into something different. And nowadays, we have a handful of primary automotive companies. So choosing the right AI system is pretty challenging today, and it really depends on the specific needs and objectives of your organization. Consider the complexity of the task you want to automate and the type of data you have available. Scalability is another important factor, ensuring that the AI system can grow with your business and handle increasing amounts of data and users. Ease of integration with your systems is also important. Look for AI solutions that offer robust APIs and support. Finally, consider the cost or the ROI of the AI system, evaluating the long-term benefits and potential savings to justify the investment. And, important note I want to make is think of adding AI to your agency kind of to just be like adding a new employee. You can't just take them and sit them down in a seat and say go, and they're going to be productive. The implementation needs need to be planned for implementing AI into an agency, and then they need to be staged over time. And different types of AI need to be trained and taught what you want it to do and how to do it. So there's a number, as we saw earlier, of AI systems out there. These are some of the main ones. I'm not going to go through all of these details right now for the sake of time, but we have the main ones out here. But we do have a little chart here that's going to help out. And this is made by Tech Republic, which is a publication for tech guys like us, letting us know what they see about AIs. These are the 5 main top ones right now: ChatGPT from OpenAI, Copilot from Microsoft, Claude from Anthropic. They all cost about the same thing per month if you use the paid account on them, but they do have different things that they do better than other ones. Now, the thing I'll tell you about AI systems is, hey, today ChatGPT may be the fastest one. Tomorrow, one of them's going to release a new feature or a new version, and they're going to be better and faster. And then the next day, another one's going to come out. And as a matter of fact, over the last couple of days, Claude has made some announcements, Anthropic and Gemini as well, on some of their new features. So they're going to keep going back and forth. And what I've learned as a tech guy, it's easy to get caught up in trying this one and then using that one and jumping to this one. Now the new thing comes out. But what I've also learned as an older tech guy is, you're better to find a good solution and focus on it and learn how to use it the right way and to make it proactive instead of being a jack of all AIs, being and a master of none, be the master of one. Grok from X is not listed here. And I think if it was, I'd rate it about a 4 right now. But there's some interesting things going on with Grok that we'll talk about. So the one I recommend today is ChatGPT. It's the most advanced. It's been a pioneer. They keep coming out with new features. And that's the one that I'm focused on, though I do use some of the other ones and check them out and try different things with them to see how they're doing. Okay, so to put other things into perspective for you here, this is a chart that shows how many exaflops or trillions of gigaflops of a computing power these systems are now using, and how many GPUs that they're using, physical GPUs, to make them up. If I look at the top here, this is just an announcement by Grok just a couple of days ago. And frankly, doing an AI presentation has been the hardest presentations that I've ever done. And the reason why is because they're constantly changing. things have changed just the last couple of days for this presentation from the one graph I showed earlier till today. And I left that graph in just to show what's happened with Grok. So they've announced that they have now scaled up to 200,000 GPUs in their computer system called Colossus. You might have saw that on the news. And that means that they can currently do 800 exaflops, or, I think more than double what they were doing before, triple. And if I put this into perspective, this is not a...
Yeah, I would say it's not linear, it's exponential.
Yeah, so it's not a linear chart.
It's kind of misleading.
Yeah, and I made it that way so we can see some of the items here, because some of these wouldn't show up if we did it the other way. But just to point out that Grok now is literally 4 times faster than OpenAI in computing power, that is, and has, I think, almost 5 times or a little bit over 5 times more GPUs in it. So it's got some raw power there. We'll see what they end up doing with Grok. But if you would like to learn a lot more about it and a little bit more in detail about some of the things I talked about, there's a book called The Coming Wave. It's written by Mustafa Suleyman, who's the co-founder of DeepMind, who created AlphaGo, and they were actually bought by Google. So now he works at Google on Gemini and a lot of other AI projects. So it was a really, really good book and kind of explained things in down-to-earth terms that us normal people could understand. So let's dive right in and let's talk about what are the risks of using AI. Well, the first thing is I want people to know is AI is always trying to please you. So whatever you're asking for is trying to deliver that. It delivers things very confidently, and it's hard to tell if it's supplying the correct information because it's so confident in what it's saying. It may supply incomplete data sometimes, and you don't know it. And it does what people call, the creators call it hallucinations and inaccuracies, and I call them sometimes just blatant lies. When it gives bad information, it may not know that it's wrong. It just follows instructions, and it lacks the ability to understand context. And I'll give you an example. I have a daily AI brief that I do. I have a task set. AI automatically goes out every morning, I have it looking for the top 5 new changes in AI or announcements and compiling a little script for me. And then I turn that into a video. And one day it came up and it listed this new AI toolkit from OpenAI. And I thought, that sounds really cool. Let's check that out. I asked it to give me more information about it. I wanted to learn a lot more about it. And it kept talking about other OpenAI tools, but not about the toolkit. So finally I said, wait a minute, I want to know about the toolkit. Forget about these other pieces. And at that point, it finally admitted to me that it fabricated the toolkit and made it up itself. So I asked it, I said, why did you do that? And it said, well, it basically said it was my fault because in my instructions, I did not tell it not to make things up. So even though I asked it for 5 top headlines, maybe it only found 4 that day. That's my theory. And so it made up a 5th one that it knew that I would like. And so that's just an example. So, I personally learned then that you really got to keep a close eye on AI. And I use AI a lot, and every day I see examples of that happening. So you really got to watch what it produces for you. And if you call it out on it, it will, it will definitely admit it and apologize and try to correct it. It also may cite or use copyrighted material, so you have to be careful about that. And I say, do not use free or foreign versions of AI. And the reason I say that is because you have to give them your information to use it when you sign up for it. And then it watches what you do, and it uses that for a lot of different reasons. The foreign powers, who knows what they're using it for. Could be for advertisements or just learning about you. So some concerns with security and data privacy that a lot of people have is that AI learns about you and your data, and it shares what it knows about you. I want to just take a moment here to say that if you are using a paid system and you set it up right, it still does learn about you, but it doesn't include that in its training data. That's a misnomer. It shares what it knows. Only if you ask it to do that, it will. And I say, using AI, you should not be afraid to put information in it, but I wouldn't put any information in it that I wouldn't put anywhere else on a computer system as you put in your management systems or in other things. That's what AI is. It's just a computer system that's out there and secured, and every system can be broken into and hacked into. But you have some people saying don't put anything in there at all, and I think that's probably a little bit overkill. So what should you do with AI? You should fact check what you create with AI, double check it. Create an acceptable use policy for your agency so everybody knows how to use it properly. Train your employees on the policy. Make sure your privacy policy lets people know that you're leveraging AI, so that privacy policy you have on your website. And use a paid version of the AI system. Many benefits to using it, but the number one reason I recommend to use the paid version is because you can change how it handles your data. And we'll show you that in a little bit. So what can you do with AI? So moving right along. So first, I'm going to show you some fun examples, and then we'll jump right in to AI. So I used OpenAI's DALL-E to create some images for my house. I wanted some pictures, some Florida pictures, so I asked it to make some pictures of manatees and a dolphin, and it made these for me. So I thought that was cool. And then I thought, hey, I'm a pheasant hunter, so I thought this turned the tables here. This have a couple of hunting dogs hunting, and the hunter as a pheasant. And this is what DALL-E created for me when I asked it. And then just playing around, I wanted to see if I could get it to create an image of a tractor, stuntman that looked like Evel Knievel on a tractor jumping over some buses. And this is what it made. And it even made it look pretty much like Evel Knievel. And I made this over a year ago. However, when I tried to recreate the image just recently, it told me it wouldn't do it because it can't use the names of people like Evel Knievel anymore. So that's been programmed into it. However, I did go into Grok and ask Grok to create the same image with the same exact prompt, and this is what Grok produced. Now the systems are progressing. So just a few months ago, OpenAI introduced Sora, which allows you to create videos. However, the videos are silent and have no sound with them. So I used a system called Suno.ai to create music.
Tractor man jumps up his mighty tractor. Over a bunch of buses he has no fear. He's been a farmer for years and decided to put his tractor in gear. There's nothing he can do.
Okay, so that's a sample of Sora. Now to create that video, I had to take the video out of Sora and the audio out of Suno and bring it into a video editor and put it together. So it still was a manual process in that. But just about a week ago, Google Gemini released its video generating system. And actually it created all of the video and the sounds for me. And I used the same prompt actually in it, and I got a little bit of a different result. Google Gemini will only make 8-second videos right now, but I say there's a lot more to come. I also watched a video yesterday of Google Labs has created another system called FlowVio, and that is a full video editing system where you can take a lot of these clips and put them together and make a full video sequence or even a movie someday. So that's kind of interesting. And then there's been advancements in voice and AI.
AI speech generators have revolutionized the way we create voiceovers, harnessing advanced machine learning algorithms to convert text into realistic human speech. These systems analyze text input, applying natural language processing to determine appropriate pitch, tone, and inflection, making the generated speech sound natural and engaging.
Voice there is created by SpeechHello Blaster, SpeechHello.com.
But you know what I decided to do? I decided to focus all my attention, all my time on listening. So instead of doing something else, I just listened, and listened. Because I'm a true believer that if you're really bad at something like listening, for example, it only shows you that, hey, you have to practice listening as much as you can.
We introduce Vasa, a framework for generating lifelike talking faces with appealing visual effective skills, given a single static image and a speech audio clip. Our model is capable of not only producing lip movements that are exquisitely synchronized with the audio, but also capturing a large spectrum of facial nuances and natural head motions that contribute to the perception of authenticity and liveliness. The core innovations include a holistic facial dynamics and head movement generation model that works in a face latent space, and the development of such an expressive and disentangled face latent space using videos.
Okay, so that's Microsoft VASA. This video is actually from a year ago. They haven't come out with any commercial applications for this yet. You can check it out on their website. But I believe soon we will start to see applications from them that include this technology. Now, what could you do with a technology like this? Well, here's one fun example.
I work too hard, never ever relax like Rosa Parks. I don't ever sit back, bro. Keep two sticks in a ride like Twix, and he fling them packs when he see a Kit Kat.
So you can actually use it to animate, inanimate objects or pictures or cartoons or things like that. Hi, I'm Jerry Fetty, and I'd like to welcome you to the Michigan Big Eyes Recipe for Success. Here is an example of a selfie avatar from Synthesia AI. I would like to thank everyone here in the audience for joining our presentation. I'm hoping you're finding it out of this world. Let's continue. So there's a sample of a selfie avatar generated by a system called Synthesia, and we'll show more generated from that later. However, the interesting thing about this is I basically uploaded a bunch of different selfies of myself from my phone to the system. It took all of those and it made my avatar, and it just asked me, what do you want to be? What situation do you want to be in? And you just describe it and it would create that. A lumberjack in outer space in my Jeep. And it's very sophisticated. For the voice though, that was actually a voiceover that I had to add myself. However, I'll show you some different voiceover technologies in just a few minutes actually. So let's talk about some real world applications of AI tools now. We're going to basically show you some examples of some things and how we use AI at Smart. So one of the first AI tools that I started using at Smart is called Sembly AI. We've literally been using this almost 2 years now. And what Sembly is, it's a note taker. There's a number of them out there today. But the unique thing about Sembly is that whether we're using a Teams meeting, a Zoom meeting, a Google meeting, an Apple meeting, or whatever kind of meeting, Sembly can join those meetings and take full notes and transcriptions of those meetings. It records the meeting, records the screen as well, will give you a summary and can pull a lot of information out of those meetings like to-dos and other things and follow-ups and such forth. It's a really powerful tool. You can do a lot of different things with it. I like salespeople to use it to record their meetings. And I even use it, one example that I have is I use it when I do interviews of potential employees. I use Sembly to record those interviews. And then once I narrow things down to a couple employees, I'll take and upload into AI those recorded interviews, any other information I have on those people, like their resumes and things like that, upload it all, upload the job description up into AI, and I ask AI to evaluate the candidates and let me know which ones it thinks are the best fit. And typically I have my decision already made. I think I know who the best fit is, but it's nice to have another voice or something else validate it for me. And typically it usually picks the person that I want to pick too. So it's just kind of a neat use. Matter of fact, the other thing I do, and Cody's on here, and I used it on Cody, is I uploaded our previous interviews with him, and I asked it to generate a list of interview questions for me to ask Cody in particular. So a very specific interview designed just and customized just for Cody. Microsoft Teams Premium also includes Microsoft Copilot 365. If you didn't know that and you have Teams Premium, yes, you have AI already in the office that you pay for. A lot to talk about in Copilot, though we're not going to do much with it today, but that will be our next webinar that we're going to do. And Bryant will have a lot to talk about then. Rabbit R1, this is a little device. It's one of the first LAM, large action models. Doesn't really have a screen that can show you things like your phone, but you can ask it like, call me an Uber, and it will automatically call an Uber for you, or order me food, and it will automatically order food for you. This is neat technology. Both Bryant and I have one. We play with it a lot. I wouldn't recommend anybody buy one right now because I believe this technology is just going to be built into all of our phones and computers in the very, very near future. The AI Meta glasses, I have a set of these and I love them. They're great for taking pictures and videos when you're out like hiking or doing some outdoor activities. The thing I love about them the best though is they have really good audio. They don't actually go into your ears, they go above it, so the sound comes through your cheekbones, I believe. And one of the best non-business uses I love about it is I can be at breakfast with my wife on Sunday morning watching videos or watching a game or something, and I can hear the audio and she doesn't holler at me for it. So just a neat little thing. But these glasses are going to get, this is the first set of these, and these are going to get much, much more advanced. As a matter of fact, Google's just announced they have glasses coming out. There's a couple of other sets of hardware coming from other providers, and they're going to do a ton more in the very near future. Okay, so ChatGPT, this is what we're really here to talk about today. So let me go ahead and fire up ChatGPT. And I'm in ChatGPT. I'm actually running the desktop download application for GPT here. I'm not in the web. You can go to ChatGPT and download this yourself. And actually, really to get started though, I am going to pull up the web. I'm going to go to openai.com. So here's the main OpenAI website. Now you can start a prompt right here and do whatever you want in the free version. But in the free version, again, it's learning what you put in there, and it's limited on what kinds of answers it can give you and how much you can actually do with it. So I just wanted to show you here, if I go into ChatGPT and I go down to pricing, we'll talk about the different models. Of course, here's the free version, and they actually just did allow access to the 4.1 mini version now, but you don't get the advanced models. The plus version, which is $20 a month, you get access to advanced models and you get priority and options to see some of the new features, and you get to do a lot more. Where the free version, if you start using it a lot, you get to a certain point and say, sorry, you used your limit for today, you can't do anything else. The Pro version, that's what I personally have as an AI guy, really lets you do a lot more, gives you some really advanced features. Actually, I'm a beta tester for some of the features, but the solution that I recommend for businesses is the team version of OpenAI, and that's $25 a month per user if billed annually, or $30 a month per user if billed monthly. That's what Smart uses for our team. It allows you to manage your people in it, to say what they can do and can't do, and then they can all work together in the AI interface as well. So I'm going to jump back out of this. I'm going to go back to my desktop version, and I'm going to pull up some of my little cheat sheets here. But here we are at the OpenAI interface, and I'll just show you some things. So if you didn't know, this is the prompt window. This is where you can type in or ask it the questions that you want it to do. You can even talk to it by clicking on the dictate. If you have Windows 11, you can talk to anything, and that's how I use my computer most of the time. We're in the Teams version right now, so we have search, deep research, and image creation available. If I go over here, here's where you can pick the model that you're using. Most of the time, you just leave it on the same model, but you can go into the advanced research model if you have a paid version, which is smarter and does more, but it's still a beta, so sometimes it still acts a little goofy. So for today's purposes, I'll keep it here. Over here in the sidebar, if I wanted to start a new chat, I could do it here. Wanted to search chats, I could. Look at my image library, I can. Codex is a brand new option for coding. I haven't even used it myself yet. GPTs are where people take and they program custom versions of AI to do different jobs. And I won't go deep into those today, but there's literally hundreds of them out there, and it's kind of like the App Store for Apple or Google, where there's GPTs that are trained to help do specific jobs. And as a matter of fact, you can create your own GPTs. And here at Smart, we have one called SuperTech that I've trained for our technicians to learn. It can do scripting for us and other things, you can ask it to do here. And I've made some kickoff prompts here. to help our technicians. And one of them, having a little fun, is to tell me one of Michael's secret cookie recipes. One of our technicians, Michael, is an accomplished baker, or give me a funny tech joke to share with a customer. And we can program it to do many things in the background, and I'll show you more about that later. You can have projects that you work on, and this is the chat, the history of our chats here. But what I really want to show you is go over here, click on our image, our profile image, and I have a couple of accounts, but I want to go down to settings and show you something really important. And I'm going to go down here to data controls and improve model for everyone. If you're on a Teams version, that's turned off by default. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if you can turn that on. So that's one of the primary reasons I recommend the paid version and Teams version. On my personal version, I can turn that on and off. Can we share links? We can turn that on and off, and then we can manage data from our own workspace. A couple of other things here is, we won't go through every detail, but you can go through and you can tune in the Teams version to make it do certain things and have certain types of security as well. Here is a beta section where you can actually now start tying it into your Dropbox or your Microsoft OneDrive. I don't recommend doing that yet. I tested it the other day and it gets a little bogged down or choked out if you got a lot of documents. And then another really important thing under security, should have your multi-factor authentication, MFA, enabled in here as well. And you can personalize it too. And you can give it custom instructions if you want, and you can save memories. So if I go into manage my memories, you can see in a Teams version, I only have a couple in there right now that I've asked it to remember. But if I go up and I go to my personal account and I come back in and I go to customize ChatGPT, I told it I want it to call me Jerry. I gave it some instructions. I like it to give nice, concise answers, not pages and pages of material. And I'm not sure why it didn't save things here. Oh yeah, I also want it to be forward thinking and a straight shooter. And if you wanted to, you can tell it what your interests are, but I don't see any reasons to do that right now. And I'll just save it. So I've tuned it in. The other thing I didn't show you there, but I told it to never make up any answers. Always use truthful information that is validated by real data in there. If I look over on the right here, you can see I've got a few more options. One of them is called Operator. That's really cool. It won't actually pop up in this interface yet, so it's only on the web. But Operator is the LAM, Large Action Model, and this is a beta product of OpenAI where you can actually tell it to go do stuff, and it will go out on the web, and you can watch it, and it will do this. If I asked it to, it will go and post my AI brief for me on LinkedIn, and it will boost it, and it will also do it on Facebook as well. Now, because it's beta, it stops at various steps and asks if it's okay to continue, especially when it's going to spend money. But I see we're going to see some very, very rapid development on the Operator and what's called agentic computing. So just a little sneak peek at that. These are a bunch of GPTs that I've created myself, and here's one I'll show you, Youper AI. I've programmed it to talk like a Youper. So I'm going to talk to my computer here. Please share a very concise, funny story about Marquette, Michigan. Now I'll try to read it here. Oh yeah, so one winter in Marquette, right by Lower Harbor ore mill. So I'm obviously not a Youper, so it's hard to talk about it. But it's just a neat little GPT that I created, having fun to see what it could do. And you can use it yourself. If you go to GPTs in OpenAI, you have to search for Youper.ai specifically. There it is. You can actually make your own GPTs, and you can share them only with your team, only with yourself, only with your team, or if you wanted to, you could share them with the public as well. So if you want to try Youper AI, that's how you can do it out there. So I want to talk about using OpenAI a little bit more here. So we're going to go up to New Chat, and you use the system by doing what are called prompts, and that's where you ask it to do something. Now, just like any computer, garbage in, garbage out. So if you put a basic prompt in and you don't tell the computer really what you want, you're going to get like a general answer out. So it's important how you prompt it. So I'm just going to give you a very quick example. Please write me a letter to a customer who I just created a homeowner's proposal for, and I've attached that proposal to this letter or to this email. Make it a friendly letter and informative about the proposal. Okay, so it's wrote the letter for me, but it's very generic, and it might be writing things in here that I don't want it to, and that's because I left a very generic message. So when you write a prompt, there's some things that you should be following, or some rules you should be following. First of all, you should state the goal at the beginning of the prompt. Specify the preferred format that you want the output to be in. You can give it some warnings or guide rails or things not to include. And, give it as much information as you can to fill in the gaps for it. You can even ask it to ask you questions about the prompt, so it can ask if it needs more information so that nothing gets missed when it creates it. So instead, I could say something like, and it's also to give it a persona, or tell it, what it's going to, what basically how it needs to answer this, or from what point of view. So if I gave it a better prompt, I could say, hey, you're a world-class customer service representative at an independent insurance agency. You're the expert in all things insurance. You're super helpful, and you're a clear communicator. You're proactive in solving problems, and you answer in answering questions. So earlier we talked about, hey, you need an AI use policy for your agency. Now, we could have created one for you and shared it with you, but I thought it would be more fun to say, please create a AI use policy for our independent insurance agency. We're just going to start using AI in the agency, and we'd like our employees to have some guidelines on how to use it or how not to use it. Please ask me up to 3 questions if needed for guidance in creating the policy. Okay, so it's writing the policy for me. It didn't ask me any questions, and the interesting thing about that is earlier today I tested this prompt and I had it ask me the questions, and I answered it for it already, so it probably didn't feel like it needed to ask me questions now. So now it's created a policy. If I wanted to, I could ask it to make changes. I could say add this or change that, or make it longer, or make it more detailed, or make it more concise. But for timing's sakes, I'm not going to do that today. But one last thing I can ask it is, once I've got the document where I think we want it, please create the document into a Word format file that I can download to use in our company intranet. Okay, so it needs to think about it a little bit, but it's going to eventually, and not too long, create a Word document for us that we can download and edit ourselves, or put in our intranet, or share it, or do whatever we want with it. AI can create a variety of different document formats. I've had it create Excel files, PDFs, obviously images and other things like that as well. So here it is. I can click on that link. It's going to ask me to download it. I can say save it. And now we've downloaded that file to my computer, and it's an actual Word document. I didn't show you much about uploading documents, but if you click this little plus key here, you can upload all kinds of documents into OpenAI and ask it questions about them, or ask it to do things about it. One good example are financial documents. If you want to upload and evaluate some kind of financial information, you could do that in it. But again, I wouldn't do it on a free version at all. So what makes a good prompt? Be specific, provide context, and be clear about the format that you want. And I say, action plus context plus details equals good results. So moving on from OpenAI, so there's a quick start. So imagine there's all kinds of things you can do with this. Just imagine. It's hard to even talk about them all today. So OpenAI and Google and Grok and most of them all have their own app now that you can put it right on your phone, so you can have OpenAI with you in your pocket at all times. I love driving down the road and talking to it, asking it questions, and learning. I learn a lot of information from OpenAI, and Google is the same way. It's got a good app as well. What are some other things you can do? What can you do with OpenAI? Instant email drafting. So sales and service in an agency, use cases, you can have it write emails that you talk about policy changes, renewal reminders, claims follow-up, and cancellations. And it literally will save a very, very significant amount of time for your employees drafting the emails for you versus trying to manually draft them. Training scripts and role-playing for producers, leadership, and employee education. Sales training for new producers, talk about that in a minute. Internal procedures or SOP creation, you can ask it to create standard operating procedures for you, and it does a very good job. And just like I did earlier, you can tell it, hey, add this or change that, and then just download it into a Word document. You can use it for training staff, and it's actually an alternative training method as well, or solution. So this is a product called Notebook LM from Google. It's kind of neat. Basically, it lets you add sources of information in. I only have one website in here right now, but you can add documents, websites, all kinds of different documents, and then ask it to summarize it for you, make a mind map of it, add a note, do an audio interview. But I've uploaded it into the system, and I'm asking it to create a podcast out of it and generate it. And here it has. It generated a podcast out of a website that I uploaded.
Okay, let's dig into this. You're buying a home, you found the place, mortgage is almost there, and then you hit that final stack of paperwork.
Right.
And somewhere in there is this one document. It seems kind of small, temporary maybe, but it's absolutely critical, especially for your lender.
That's exactly right. We are talking about the home insurance binder. It's one of those things that pops up right when everything's getting intense.
Yeah.
And knowing what it is, why it matters, well, that's key to not having last minute, headaches.
The idea there is you can upload whatever documents or websites that you want and have it create a podcast that your employees can listen to, because some people learn more by audio than they do by reading, or they do both together, and that reinforces. That's Notebook LN at google.com to use that. Also, the Risk Insurance Education Alliance has something called Alibot, and this is for producers or insurance agency owners or salespeople that are trying to get different credentials. Alibot actually does a similar thing, condenses all that information but in a controlled environment, so it's not taking stuff off the internet. It's taking real internal data to create a bot that helps you learn, and it's $12 a month for that service. And this one's kind of cool, the end of ride-alongs, Rilla. It actually is used to record all of your salespeople's meetings, and then it will analyze those meetings and give the manager of those folks some training tips or coaching tips for them, so you don't have to ride along with them to all of the sales calls and then give them tips. Condenses down your time needed to do this very significantly. Rilla.com. You can use it as a policy explanation translator. So, if you need to explain some different coverages or policy terms to a customer, you can ask it to simplify it for you and put it into everybody's terms. So everybody becomes a pro in plain English at your agency. You can use it to do video scripts and video creation, explainer videos, sales videos, marketing videos, personalized meeting videos, and training videos too. And you can ask AI to create a script, record or create the video for you, and share it. You can share it out with people too. So you can create professional video creation with a minimum effort and time. And as a matter of fact, this is how I create my daily
Hello, here's
AI
your business
briefs.
AI brief, courtesy of Jerry Fetty. This is brief number 65. Let's dive in.
And using Synthesia, we've created this video.
Ever felt like your insurance agency's IT needs are a puzzle with missing pieces? As an agency, you need secure, seamless, and scalable technology that supports your daily operations without unnecessary complexity. Let's explore how smart IT services can...
Whoops. So going back, that video was completely computer AI generated. The lady speaking there is called Paige, but she is an avatar, and we put the script in and she just reads it off. So pretty cool. Another way to use AI is a customer service chat bot, something called Intercom that's been around and used quite a bit for chat bots. It uses AI and can answer questions for people and help them out. We talked about sound earlier. There's a system out there called SoundHound where you can call in, and a receptionist that answers the phone and can answers people questions and send them additional information as well. Works pretty good. It's being used in a lot of restaurants, but it can work in pretty much any industry today. And there is something big is coming in AI and for the insurance world. And it's basically inbound and outbound call-based automation with AI. The AI analyzes incoming calls, can identify key topics, action items, notify teams, can give immediate feedback to your management team and tell you what's going on out there. Can do automation. It can assign follow-up tasks to teams, generate service requests, log notes into the management system, and do other things as well. And the team can get notified in real time about these incoming calls, and people can be transferred to the incoming team, or messages can be taken, or actually appointments can be set all automatically. And it's a good feedback system as well. So this is neat. Something very neat is coming. In fact, this stuff already exists today. It's already here. And today I'm introducing you to Gale, which is AI for insurance agencies. Gale is a AI system program specifically for insurance agencies from private data, not from public data. So she doesn't come up with weird answers on things, and she can be programmed specifically for the agency. She's available 24/7, provides instant service, seamless integration to the agency, and fully customizable. And there's no code set up at all to make Gale work. So Gail's kind of a perfect employee. She does a lot, multilingual. She can talk, she can email, she can text, can communicate in all those ways. And inside of Gale, she has her, a setup, again, tailored to insurance. So you can pick the types of insurance that your agency offers. Right here I have the personal, but there's also commercial and other. She'll give you a dashboard to show you the calls coming in and calls going out and what types of calls they are, so you can keep an eye on that. But she also records all of the calls and transcribes all of the calls, so you can dig into a call if you wanted to and see exactly what was talked about and what happened with that call, and actually even listen to it if you want. Very powerful feature. And she does outbound calling as well. So if you had somebody filing a claim and they needed claim assistance on how to file it properly, she can call them. You can pick them. She'll call them and help them out with that. You want to do a outreach on commercial property, kind of like sales call or an account rounding call, or even notify customers maybe about an ice storm that happens sometimes up here in northern Michigan, and tell them how to react or what to do and what your availability is. So why choose Gale? It's shown that agencies using Gale fully implemented get about a 25 or 28% increase in revenue, a 65% reduction in administrative time, and a 32% higher lead conversion rate. But I would say that is if she's implemented properly, just like you would implement a new employee slowly and training them properly. If you'd like to try Gale, you can call her. Write this phone number down, 734-999-4272. This is just a demo of Gale that we've set up. Keep in mind, she's not tied to any back-end agency management systems because we don't have one here. But it's an interesting way to get introduced to Gale. And if anybody would like some demos of Gale, like a demo specifically to your agency, talking about specifically how it would work in your agency or what you're trying to accomplish in the agency, you can scan this QR code and pick a time from my calendar for us to meet. So you can scan the QR code, pick the date and time that you'd like to meet and talk about Gale, or really any other need that you may have at your agency. What's next? What's coming next is what's called Agentic AI, autonomous AI agents that can do repetitive work and make decisions with minimum human input all on their own. We basically just scraped the surface on those today. We're going to be doing a webinar on them. And if you do have any additional questions, feel free to email or call us. I'll put our phone number and email address up at the end, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Our next webinar is coming up. Using Microsoft Copilot in the workplace will be Wednesday, June 25th at 11 a.m. And then after that, we're doing creating and using agentic AI agents in your insurance agency, which will be held later in July. If you want to learn more or know when to sign up for those, you can follow us on LinkedIn. On there, you'll see my 1-minute AI brief, our smart IT blog that we do 3 times a week, and information of any upcoming webinars. We do custom AI training sessions and AI implementation sessions for insurance agencies. And if you want to learn more about those, just give us a call or send me an email. And with that said, that's the end of our webinar today. And here's also the QR code from earlier if you wanted to scan that. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend coming up.
Thanks, everyone.